Okay, so here's the brand new body, and this just happens to be a 66. Okay, but we can do a 67, whatever year you really want to do. For the Eleanor, you're looking more in the 67, 68, which is fine. But this is the reason why I would suggest choosing this car as a brand new body. You can see, you know, all of this is solid. Every structural point is sound in this car. We're gonna have to put a true Mustang 2 front. Here's a shot of the welds close up. These are nice beads. You know, it's just done professionally. You don't need to go crazy overboard on stuff, but all of this is new. It's all stuff that you'd have to spend all the time in the world trying to get right, blasting it, painting it, just endless hours. And no matter how good it looks on the outside, the inside's still gonna be a rotten car. So what we'll do. So yes, this firewall's not smooth. We could do that, and we'd do it much differently. Filling some of these holes is what this car is going to get. The holes that we don't need on initial mock-up. We'll make a nice filler panel that'll incorporate a showpiece to show off the front adjustability of the Mustang 2. We buy the car without the strut towers in it already. And in this particular manner, these lowers could also be removed. They just happened to send the car with them. We had to remove them. But all of your structural points, now you're looking at a front that's true. This isn't square steel and fabbed in with a bunch of screws. This is all stamped original metal. Now, what you're looking at is basically a brand new thoroughbred chassis or body. We've got the, you'll have to excuse some of the stuff that's in here because it's in process, but basically, you know, the floor pan is all one piece. It will be all seam sealed where need be. This is actually a 69 floor, so the tunnel is actually taller and bigger and accepts the dual exhaust. No Bondo in the dash. Good solid piece to start with. All of this has already been e-coated so it doesn't rust. Now you will notice some spots have got a little bit of surface rust, but that's only because we've modified some things, and I'll show you that in a minute. But interior side of the car, solid. Everything you're working with, solid. You don't have to change the quarter panels in this car and spend money on labor. For $15,500, everything that is bare metal like this is what you get for $15,500. Then we buy a solid set of brand new doors. You can see on just initial fitment how close we are on the body gaps. And it's dark so it doesn't really show it perfect, but those are your door gaps. Pretty darn good for initial fitment. Here's the door gap up at the fender. And once again, I'm probably moving too fast, but it all fits and flows. Everything fits nice. Cowl panel, it's supposed to have vents in it. Now we can smooth this if you want, but it's supposed to have vents in it. That's how the fresh air gets in the car. Underneath the dash, this is the way it's supposed to look. It's all there. It's not gone and rotted. That's the way it's supposed to look. That's where all the chicken wire was. Now, obviously, doors, fenders, the hood, Fender Extensions, the chrome, the inner headlight bucket piece, the actual bucket itself, the grill, the lights, the latch mechanisms, and anything motor and AC related. That's all separate. What you get for the $15,500 to start with before we start panel fitment is everything you see in E-coat. And what we'll do, where they meet the roof with the quarters, you'll see it's got a couple low spots, but we put metal in and weld it and metal finish it. So you have a very skim coat of filler. That's what we're going after. Now if you want it leaded, we can do that as well. You'll see in the rear, we've done the same thing. A minimal amount of filler goes in here. Welding these seams up, this will all get covered with your body work. The trunk unhook it here. Trunk lid on initial fitment is not too awfully bad. Pretty close, gets a little bit tight here, but not too bad. Now, you'll also see what you'll also see is our fender extensions in the rear. It's really hard to tell by the video, but you'll see they're a little low. They need to be worked. They need to be filled a little bit. Up here we've got marked where we'll weld the corners of the body. Behind here there's just some spots where it wasn't fully welded. You'll see it's high and low right here, but that's not awfully bad. Yeah, it's your choice whether you want us to finish this, not fill it, but finish it to where it gets a seal between this piece and this piece, or we leave it just as is, get it to fit, with minimal work. Get it to fit and you finish it. If you want the fender extensions put on or the wheel well openings put on, we can do that, but there again, that's something your guys can do. Bumpers, fitment, the tail panel. We can get the tail panel, that's Eleanor tail panel already, and then get you the proper lights. The trunk's solid, so everything I was showing you, in here, see, you can see it. It's all metal. It's not filled with Bondo. I mean, obviously it's going to be solid. It's a brand new car. Now, there's a few things that we can do. Like here's the fender extension for this side. Essentially, this is exactly how good this thing fits right now. That's it. So don't be fooled by thinking that there's not additional work when you buy a new body. There's a lot of preliminary fitment of getting stuff right, but when you get it this close, it's something you can work with. And obviously you can go further and further. It's just a matter of how much money you want to spend. So we can get this a lot closer, but as you see, alignment and fitment, I'm trying to push on it. You can't close that gap. So that's something that we would tune up there. We've got a simple suspension system with a new 9-inch. This is a strange 9-inch rear, and it's a canted 4-bar system. So you'll see the uppers aren't there yet, but it's getting preliminary fabbed in place. The lowers are, there's your lower. It's a basic, simple suspension, simple brake system, which I would like to see this gentleman upgrade the brakes, but is it needed? Not necessarily. It's a good little package. And this goes into the original frame. Solid. This is the way the inner fender should look. All the way around. It's concentric. It's correct. Rockers, everything. You're straighter with a big piece, this door, you're already straighter than you are on the other car. So strange rear, disc brake package in the rear, 9-inch. Same thing up front. We can definitely put a lot better brake system on it, a lot bigger. It's a matter of what you want to spend there. Mustang 2, you'll see, again, all the nice professional welds. This is essentially what you need to start with. Hinges, for instance, the billet hinges, definitely a good idea. It allows this hood to close much more easily, smooth, comes up on its own. What you'll notice is if you use a standard one with a big spring, as the other car didn't have on there, and or fiberglass hoods, metal hoods, they'll tend to bend here. So as you're pulling way out here, they want to bend. You can already see this one wants to a little bit, but when we got a big old hefty spring there, it bends the hood. Fiberglass is even worse because it'll start cracking on the outside. So the $600 hinge is well worth your money. Not only does it style up the engine bay, but it helps your fit, finish, and final product. So I guess to briefly recap, you're going to be adding fender extensions. You want to be able to add your flare to the rear, you want to add those flares to a good metal. You really want to add, like the fender stuff, you know, you're already buying that stuff. Front grille assembly, you're already purchasing it. These are all things that we can pre-fit. You'll notice there's no engine mounts. So by installing this in a good solid frame, no Bondo, now we can build an engine stand and drop in the motor. The next part for this car is going to be mocking up the engine. Much better car to start with. You may have 20 to 25 in this with all your parts and pieces fit up, excluding the cost of the Eleanor conversion parts, but you have a solid piece to start with rather than looking on down the line to the red one I just showed you way on far down there. So you let me know, sir, and we'll go from there.